Hello and welcome to the mill. I am your host, Dusty Crane, and this week I am going to do another first 3 turns in Scythe. I have Tabletop Simulator up here behind the blue curtain, and I went ahead and used Scythe to generate a random mat and faction combo. Let's see what we got. Oh yes, we have Agricultural Nordic. Now when Sidekick produced this combination, I thought, oh no, I am not particularly good with Nordic, so I guess, I guess I should look at this as an opportunity to not only share maybe what I'm doing, but also to kind of, open the floor up to folks in the comments, and also over on the BGG forums who have been incredibly helpful in giving me some tips and things to try. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's see what I'm working with here to start with. I start with a single combat card here, and that is a 3, so middle of the road. I'll go ahead and hide that from my opponent, which is non-existent right now. Let's see what our objectives are. Ooh, become a beloved pacifist. So have 0 power, at least 13 popularity, and at least 5 workers. Okay. I don't know if Nordic wants to run around with 0 power, but maybe. They start with 4, so we're definitely not there yet. But get rich or cry trying. Have at least 20 coins at the end of your turn. This one, I think, is certainly something we could work towards. And so yeah, of that one, I think that one might be the objective that I choose to work towards. I'll just keep it face up here on the table. Why not? Do that with the combat card too. So we start with 7 coins, which is nice to have money getting started. And the Nordic Kingdom, their faction power is swim. Your workers may move across rivers, which is one of those things that really makes the Nords kind of special here, is that they don't have to wait for that Riverwalk mech. Let's go ahead and see what kind of starting resources we have to begin with. We start here with oil and wood, but right next door we have a village. We have a village over here. We can get to farmland on a movement if we want to. We can get iron, oil over here. We have lots of options with Nordic. So let's go ahead and start with my first turn. So, again, I've said it in every one of these videos, but I do want to kind of elaborate or to remind folks that this is not a proper turn order inside. You definitely need to pay attention to what your opponents are doing, because that will affect your strategy. But for my first turn, I am going to go ahead and trade. I like to have the ability to get my bottom row action just as soon as possible. So my first turn, I'm going to go ahead and do a trade. I'm going to pay 1 of my coins here, and I'm going to drop that in the bucket there. And I am going to go ahead and take 2 oil. I think that one will serve me well with my next turn. So that's my first turn, is trade. 1, pay a coin to gain 2 oil. Now my second turn, I think I'm going to move in. Go ahead and hit that upgrade, excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and move, and I'm going to move here. I really want to get some more workers on the board, especially with Nordic. I think their ability to kind of spread out, especially, a lot of people want to go to the middle. They kind of chase the factory. They want to get there as soon as possible, and that's certainly a good strategy for the Nords too. But you can really spread out along the edges of the maps depending on worker count or whatever, or player count rather. So I'm going to go ahead and move this worker over here. I want to get some more workers out there and spread out. I'm fine with this guy staying here for oil. I am going to move Bjorn right here, get him a little closer to the encounter token. And I do have 2 iron, which means I can go ahead and do that bottom row action. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and pull this oil off here. And for my bottom row action, I'm going to do an upgrade. And I think because I want to get enough power that people aren't going to mess with me, but starting at 4, I also have kind of a nice jump start on the power star if I want to get that. So I'm going to go ahead and bolster, and I'm going to bolster that down to the enlistment because that is my action that pays the 3 stars. I have a great opportunity to make my big paying bottom row action a very cheap one. And so that is what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my bolster and improve my enlistments. Now that's going to cost me the 2 oil. I am going to gain the 1 coin for doing so. So I kind of got back when I just spent a little bit ago, which that's good. So I'm at 7 coins. That would be my second turn. Now, for my third turn, and at this point in the game, you know, we're still playing in a vacuum, right? The other players, no one's got off their home base yet, except for the Nords, and that's me. I don't need to worry about me. But for turn 3, I'm going to go ahead and produce. I'm going to go ahead and produce 1 oil over here, and I am also going to produce my first, or I guess my third rather, worker here at the village. And that's it, unfortunately. I can't do a bottom row action on this production. I don't have enough wood, so that's going to be kind of a disappointing one. But, you know, for turn 3, I guess it is what it is. For turn 4, looking at what's the wrong direction here. Looking at what I got here. Get some workers. I'm gonna trade again. I'm gonna trade again because I want to get one of these bottom row actions going, and I can get another one if I produced. I can't, you know, you can't produce 2 turns in a row. So a trade would get me what I need. It's not gonna cost me a whole lot. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and pay my 1 coin to get me back down to 6. It is what it is. And then I'm gonna go ahead and trade for the 1 oil that I need so that I can do that bottom row action again. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss that there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and trade for a grain. I want a grain too. Let's put that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and trade for a grain because I would like to be able to enlist soon, because that is as soon as I can anyway, to get that money making engine going. This is unfortunately another one. I keep forgetting to move this. This is another one that's kind of a wasted bottom row action. That's another one where I haven't been able to get that bottom row action off, but I don't know if that's just me maybe not playing Nord to its strengths or what, but I think I'm doing all right. On turn 5, I'm gonna move. The reason I'm gonna move is I want to get Bjorn to this encounter, so I'll just go ahead and move him over there. And I'm gonna go ahead and move this worker over to the farm because I don't necessarily need to start, you know, really ramping up my workers just yet. Now maybe that's something that I'm doing that I could do differently, but I want to start getting this grain going so that I can start working that bottom row action for the enlistments. So I'm going to go ahead and Bjorn to the encounter, worker to the farm, and go ahead and have that encounter here. So let's see here, the encounter, wrong camera. Let's see what we got here. So we can steer the disoriented mech through the fog, and that's going to gain us some oil and popularity. We can pay the stranded man for his mech, which is 4 coins to deploy a mech. Wow, I feel like that is probably good. And shout nonsense until the mech comes close enough for you to rob it. I don't want to take a popularity hit, even if it's to gain 2 coins and 2 resources. I am sitting currently at 6 coins, I believe, so I really don't want to do that, but I am sitting at 6 coins and I do want to get a mech out there. So I'm going to pay the 4 coins to deploy the 1 mech. And then I'll just I'll just dump this over here for now. Let's get back over here and see what we have. So, oh, I'm paying my 4 coins. Let me do that. There's probably a faster way to do that. But now we got to decide on the mech. And we got a couple of options here. Obviously, Riverwalk is one that we're well familiar with. That one we can cross into Forest or into Iron. So in the case here, I can cross directly over here. That kind of gets me really close to that factory, doesn't it? So that's definitely something to consider. Seaworthy, move to and from lakes and retreat into adjacent lakes. Now, what I like about Seaworthy here is if you decide to go aggressive with Nordic, you can go ahead and have a combat where you pay the bare minimum so that you can get that reward for losing that battle. And if you have a lake that's nearby, you can go ahead and posture like I'm going to go real big here and, maybe kind of tease about, oh, all right, so I got a good number of power. I would like my combat star, however you want to bluff that thing out and then take the hit, retreat real close, and hopefully they've blown a ton of their combat cards or a ton of their power, and you can come right back at them after they've attacked. And that is definitely one of those nice strategies with Seaworthy. Artillery is, well, what's going on there? Anyway, physics sandboxes, am I right? Artillery is before combat. If you pay 1 power, your opponent gets -2. That's nice. I like that one. I don't necessarily think it needs to be my first one. I'm not, looking to do combat just yet. I really do think for my first one, it is between speed and Riverwalk. And because my folks are kind of stranded and I don't have a mine built yet, and I don't have, I do want to kind of get Bjorn to the factory quickly so I can get that card and then kind of bug out of the factory. I don't need to be there early on, so I'm going to go ahead and recruit this mech right here, my Riverwalk mech, for that reason. However, I really don't think you could go wrong with speed, obviously, but maybe for the second one or for the first one, I think you probably could have been all right with Seaworthy too to move to and from lakes. It doesn't necessarily, in this case, actually, it would. You know what? I think I might take that back, move to and from lakes, and retreat into adjacent. Because if I can move into a lake here, I can move Bjorn right here, and then I can move him straight to the factory instead of going this roundabout way. You know what? That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and make Seaworthy my first mech deployment. That's what I'm going to do. Sorry if I talked that out a little long, but that was my movement and my encounter. I'm down to 2 coins. I think that's still fine though, because I'm gonna go ahead and I still have this 2 iron. I got to finish up my turn. The other people at the table probably hate me. Uh, hopefully you folks forgive me since I'm kind of explaining what I'm thinking here. So I'm gonna pay those 2 oil, and I'm gonna go ahead and do another upgrade. I guess for this upgrade, I'm kind of spreading my people out. I have, people on oil. I have people on the village and people on farmland. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade production. And I really want to make this enlistment cheap because that's just a good source of coins. So I went ahead and upgraded that. Unfortunately, again, I'm at a situation where I can't do my bottom row action, but I think I'll go ahead and kind of walk through here. I'll go ahead and do my next turn, maybe 2. Like I said, I wanted to go ahead and Oh, here I was talking about I did that upgrade. So now I think I'm going to produce. I'm getting ahead of myself here talking about when I want to upgrade and moving this thing around. But oh, that would have got me a coin for that upgrade. I am just moving way too fast here for my head. um, so then on my next turn, I would go ahead and do this production because, like I said, I want to get more people out. I would go ahead and get an oil, get a food over here, and get another worker. So now I'm going to start paying power, and because I'm going to start paying power, I do like that my bolster is capable of more. But that is not going to cost me this time around. That is another action without a bottom row action. And I think you know that this will be the last one I walk through here, for my 7th turn, I would go ahead and pay a coin to bolster. Now, depending on whether I'm going to take combat, but there is definitely a case to be made for getting combat cards, especially if you decide you want to play Nordic aggressive. Those combat cards have a greater opportunity to yield you greater, I guess, power since you're maxed out at 7. Um, these cards have values up to 5, and it also, the power is what people can see. And the combat cards are really where I think you get into that whole threat of power. You don't know whether or not they have a bunch of 2s in their hands, whether they have all, 2 5s. So the combat cards for me are really what make me hesitate and think twice before attacking somebody, besides, workers and stuff like that. But so in this case, I would go ahead and pay the coin to bolster, and that would get me up to the most that I could spend on a combat. And I have a combat card that, my opponent doesn't know about. So I'm looking a little less like somebody you want to just jump out and go after. And then I would go ahead and pay one of the food and I'll just take this one since it's close. And pay one of those food to get this bottom row action, my enlistment. For this enlistment, let's see if I can do. Nope. All right, so maybe if I hit 1, 2, 3, I don't know. So anyway, it took my 3 there. My enlistment, because I like that whole threat of power and the uncertainty, I'm going to go ahead and take those 2 combat cards. And then this is also going to help me earn when people inevitably, hopefully, enlist. So let's go ahead and take a couple combat cards and see what we got before I call this off. A 4. All right, that's definitely nice. And a 2. But okay, they don't know what we have. They're trembling. They see us gaining in power. Um, that is how I would run a agricultural Nordic first few turns, and this was obviously kind of double few, right? I did, well, a little more because I did double. I did 7 turns. Um, but yes, I would love to know if I handled this correctly. If maybe I shouldn't have taken Seaworthy as my first mech. Maybe I should have done Riverwalk. Um, maybe there was some opportunity to do something differently that would have helped me get my more bottom row actions taken care of. Again, I really enjoy when you guys hop into the comments and you're like, help me play a faction a little bit better, or if you sometimes I miss stuff, like I obviously would have needed to clear this, so Bjorn can't double. But I think what I would do, just kind of like high level going forward, is I think one of the trophies I would go for certainly is I'm going to go for max power. I think that one's kind of a gimme. I think I definitely need to go for my objective. I'm going to try and run that bottom row action a few times and get those 3 coins, maybe, hit up the factory, get my extra movement card and bug out and try and snag up some of these encounter tokens, maybe get another mech deployed for speed so I can really get Bjorn moving around the map. But once you see things starting to wrap up, you Nordic, especially with this ability to move in and out of lakes. You can really, with a mech, help spread these workers out around areas of the board. I realize seaworthy isn't necessarily that tie in necessarily to that theme, but spreading it out around the outside of the board where maybe people aren't want to go is a pretty good idea. And the fact that Nordic can leave, their workers can leave the base so quickly, and you really do have access to just about absolutely every resource you could need. I do find it a little challenging. I feel like I lose a turn by the fact that I have to step outside to get to a village. But I guess it's really no different than if I walk down. Maybe I just feel more exposed out here is the issue. But yeah, that's all I got for you this week. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you found something of use here, or you found something that you can make of use by letting me know maybe where there was a missed opportunity or whatnot. But again, thank you so much for checking this video out. I really do appreciate everyone who comes and likes or says in the comments, contributes. It means a lot. And I just want to, as usual, every week, just put that plea out. If you like what we're doing, like, subscribe, tell somebody or share a video. But more than that, just take it easy this week. Be kind. More than anything, it seems like things are a little mean, and maybe they always have been, but man, we can do so much good together if we just keep it positive and try and build each other up. And if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. I'm happy to talk to folks, and uh, yeah, just let's take care of each other. All right, you guys take it easy. I'll talk to you later. Thanks again for watching. Bye.